It's hideous.
Why are you saying it's hideous?
Are you kidding me?
I look like you wearing Dad's pants.
No. No. Do not put yourself there, Dave. I was influenced. That was my first peer pressure experience. Luckily, I didn't stab a human.
Huh? Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 19, when we begin the Path of Daggers. I'm Eric VC, and as always, I'm joined by my favorite ball and peen, Adam and Dave.
No, I'm a summer ham.
I couldn't get
I'm
that
not
out.
a ball and peen.
No. He's a ham, and I am a summer.
Right. There's
No.
no ball and peen.
There's no
Because
ball
there's going to
and
be a
peen.
brawl to figure out who's what. And
You can save
neither
that-
of them are
hey,
good.
Eric,
Neither
save
of them
that
are
for
good.
6 books down the pike.
I will leave it to our listenership to how many people actually know what that is.
I
or
would
what
hope
that
a
refers
large
to.
percentage.
What a summer
I'm going to
ham
hit
is?
you with a hammer
This
just
is
thinking
Adam
about
and
that.
Dave. Say hello,
You
Adam.
summer ham.
Summertime.
He is such a summer ham.
And
Dave.
say hello,
Hi.
Dave.
I think Eric is the summer ham.
He
quite
is the
personally.
summer ham here.
So together we're the
The ham
VC
hock.
boys, and for this episode, we read the epilogue through chapter 6 of the Path of Daggers.
Simmer down now.
New book, guys.
New
Summer ham now.
Path
I know.
of Daggers. It's an exciting title. That sounds painful. Which hopefully is not a foreshadowing of what we're about
It's
to go
gone
through.
from head to foot.
Yes,
Right.
it's true. It
Last
has.
book was head to foot.
Yeah.
What is the next one going to be?
The
Groin of
midsection.
spears.
I was going to say the girdle of truth, but I
You
like
got it.
groin of spears.
Groin of spears.
Anus of Badisti.
What?
I don't know.
Wow. Oh, see now you're the ham.
The
Whoa.
kneecap of arrows.
Yeah.
No, that was weak. it's the kneecap of destiny.
Right.
So the Path of Daggers was published by Tor Books on October 20th of 1998 and shot straight to the top of the New York Times hardcover fiction bestseller list, which was the first time one of these Wheel of Time books had ever achieved
Wheel of
that.
Books. What?
This was the first. This was the
first one.
first number one New York Times bestseller.
Oh, number one.
book
That
of
is
this. Yeah.
insane. Why?
I wonder what the placement on the other ones were.
Yeah, it's amazing that it took 6 books.
Yeah.
7. This is book 8. So it took 7 books for this to get to the point where it was number one in fiction.
Wait. Well,
I mean, it's a big
That's-
deal for a fantasy book to reach number one in fiction. The book receives its title from an anonymous note scribbled into the margins of a history of the last days of the Tovin Conclave. You know, the ever popular Tovin Conclave.
I was just discussing that with Adam the other week.
The note is believed to be from the age
We were
of
drinking
Arthur Hawkwing and
chocolates.
goes, "Who would sup with the mighty must climb the path of daggers."
I thought
Yeah.
it was they have to climb the kneecaps of arrows.
Yes. They have to mount to the kneecaps of arrows.
First, you got to pass the kneecaps of arrows
They
to get to the,
Well,
the
no.
groin of what?
No, you have to start with the crown of swords, then move past the kneecaps of arrows
No, you
to
go
get to the
crown of
path
s-
of
no,
daggers.
you go crown
It's
of
by the way, it's the
swords.
path of daggers, not the shoes of daggers. So
No,
I
it's
mean,
the
it's,
shoes of
it's
Wong to get it
underfoot.
right.
That's true.
It's
You
not
could be
on
walking
foot.
around on your fingertips.
Well, maybe their leather wore out in the bottom of their sandals or their shoes, and
they were making them all the time though. Those dudes were making soft boots. So
Right,
if
that's
it does if
That's
it
true.
does wear out, they have a couple more.
you can't trust those blacksmiths to make shoes.
So as we
No,
move
'cause
further into
they
the
fall in love with
episode,
Birds.
we will first look at the epilogue and the backdrop it gives us for what's to come next here, and then we'll get our view from Dragonmount so that we can
Wouldn't that
sketch
be the
out
prologue?
the basic plot line for the first 6
That's true.
chapters of the book. Then
Eric
we'll.
said epilogue.
He did.
And it is the,
I'm like
the
very confused.
prelogue.
We're going to the very end. We're going
I
to
said
the epilogue.
epilogue.
Yeah, you did.
You said epilogue.
Well, it wasn't even epilogue. It was epilogue.
It was
All right. Well,
epilogue.
it's the prologue.
Either way, it's yes.
Yes.
Then after our view from Dragonmount, where
Love
we
you,
sketch
Eric.
out the basic plot line for the first 6 chapters of the book, we'll
Dragonmount.
talk about our favorite moments of these 6 chapters and what shook your Willow. We'll contrast the 3 different societies that mingle in these first 6 chapters in culture clash before getting personal about our favorite curmudgeon in Nynaeve of Destruction.
Ooh,
Then we'll
Nynaeve of Destruction.
cover that mysterious Forsaken and wait until toMorodin. And finally wrap up with our Coplin of the week and who leveled up.
Baby.
Eric is on
Wait
a tear.
until toMorodin.
I'm a fan.
Coplin of the week and who leveled up. So
Let's
let's begin
wait
with
until
what occurs
tomorrow
in
then.
the prologue. Deceptive appearances with the Wheel of Time glyph. So the prologue begins with the kings and queens and lords of the borderlands meeting in the Black Hills to discuss Rand.
So many names.
Were they getting Randy?
The gathering
So
is
many
extremely
names.
secret, and each has taken measures to ensure it remains that way.
You're right, Adam. There are so many names. There's so many
Yeah.
names of people here.
Yes.
What measures have they taken?
Well, they're skirting around
They're
all of
killing
the
everybody
farms
they
that are
talk
in
to.
the area.
and they're
They
wondering
were
if they're going to have to kill people.
they were
Yeah.
apparently not really supposed to bring Aes Sedai with them, though Pedar and Tenobia
Kinda.
do anyway.
blatantly
They're like, I
violated
got
that
8,
one.
I
Not only
got
one,
5.
not 2, we've got 13.
Yeah.
Not an
So-
insignificant
Right.
number.
No.
I'm so
No.
annoyed with. I'm so annoyed. By
So
how that's just,
annoyed.
like
Yeah.
haughtily offered up. We're skipping ahead with that.
No, it's fine.
Eric.
Nathaniel is not a big fan of this idea for the reasons we just mentioned. Tenobia and Pedar tell the others that they were surprised that their Aes Sedai were actually as eager as they were to keep these movements from Elida and the White Tower. So Elida is not a popular ruler any longer, if she ever was. The Blight's been quiet
She
for a
kicked
while
everyone
now.
out of her rooms.
We've heard rumors
Sorry.
of Tenobia, including Elida's failed attempt to have the Aes Sedai Amara kidnap her. And we learn of this failure in the prologue of the previous book. Tenobia seems pretty upset that at Davram for following Rand and not bringing Mazrim Taim back to her as a prisoner or dead.
There's 11
Yeah.
names to be specific, Adam. 11.
Jeez, how did you come up with that?
Because I just looked at my little notes here.
The
look at
Blight
you.
has been quiet for a
I'm
while
Eric.
now. We've heard rumors of. Oh wait, I already said that.
Why would the Blight be quiet?
Because isn't that
Everyone's
slightly
gone.
worrisome?
Yeah, it's
Something
well,
else
It
is
could
they're
be the
getting ready
calm
for-
before the storm.
Right.
Remember also that there are
Yeah.
large amounts of Trollocs using the ways and traveling around
Yeah.
the Westlands.
You know
Also,
what probably happened is
Uh.
they had a difficult time scaling the kneecaps of arrows.
that took a
That
long
does sound
time
like
to
a-
get there.
But it got
This is
there.
a good
and
point,
it got
Eric. though.
there
That
quite
does
well.
sound like a place that would take place in the
Right, that's
ways.
a new mountain range, the kneecaps of arrows.
You think so? Do you think they're freely using the ways then?
I hope not. Well,
Yeah.
we know that the
Yeah, I
Murdril
mean, they
can't.
have before.
It can only be Trollocs. Murdril
Yeah.
can't go through them.
Tenobia invites the group to
get it, I
dine
don't
with her and her Aes Sedai, and then Pedar and his to make them more comfortable with the presence of the Aes Sedai amongst them.
Hey, so I've got
Come here, hang out.
a
with
quick
my
question about some of these
friends.
people. So
Yes, please
Esar,
ask.
Yeah,
when we were way back when,
right.
and he was all chummy with Rand,
Yeah,
and now doesn't he remember that Rand?
this
the
seems
Rand,
odd. It seems odd that he
Wait,
is in
when
this
was
group and
that?
doesn't say
Yeah.
anything
When was
in
that?
favor of. That was Eye of the World.
Yeah, well, and the second
Wait.
book afterwards when they left
Right,
his,
he,
his
at the very
his
beginning.
household.
Yes, Aglamar.
Aglamar. Oh, so
You
that was
said
Aglamar.
Esar.
Oh my
Well, this is
gosh.
Esar.
I think
don't-
isn't Aglamar in
Aglamar's
this
part of
group?
it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
Aglamar is in this.
So
yeah.
it was strange to me. It was very strange to
Right.
me. Give that being said, well, let's kind of get to the end of this conversation
Okay.
here. So
Am I
Tenobia,
good?
so Tenobia invites everybody to dine with her and Pedar and to make them comfortable with these women. Nathaniel seems a bit fed up with Tenobia and her surliness. From Nathaniel's thoughts, it seems like Tenobia is going to die a maiden, making it likely that Davram or Fail will become the ruler of Saldea.
Yeah, interesting.
Because Nathaniel doesn't think Tenobia is going to have any heirs. So
Yeah, she doesn't think she wants any.
that is something to, no. She thinks that it's unlikely that she'll ever find a man.
Well, yeah, she thinks that what's her face will not
Tenobia.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's partially the large nose, I think, really is what it is.
No, it's all due to. It's all
of course
due to.
it's not.
It's.
I
it's-
mean,
I know. I love the description.
Perrin
of
finds
her.
it attractive.
I love the description of. Well, oh no, not her. Or was it Tenobia that
Well,
also
so
was
the
like
same
just
blood
bonkers
lineage.
pretty? Yeah,
Yeah.
bonkers pretty, except for
the large
maybe the
schnoz.
nails.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we all know who's.
Well,
gonna
remember,
be my
this is
level up
always
this week.
Right.
through
Oh,
these
we do.
these characters' point of views. So if you come from a culture that
Right.
doesn't have
That
that
has
type of
small
nose, it's going to
noses.
stand out. Well, right, yeah, it's just.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Right.
I'm
Part of
sure
their
if you
culture.
saw it from
Does
the
happen.
point of view of the Saldaeans, they'd probably be looking at these other people and their gross, tiny noses. I mean, it's just
which of these cultures have the small noses?
sure.
I would like to know.
It's
who.
the Andorans, them and their small noses. Look out
Oh,
for
could
them.
be.
They use less Kleenex.
Tenobia seems to be trying to wed her uncle Callion to Atheniel.
So
Yep.
how? I wasn't exactly sure what her reaction to that seemed kind of two ways. Like at first she's kind of like tee hee hee, and then at the same time she's like no. I'm not sure which
I
is
don't
the
think
greater
I don't
of the
think those are
emotions.
contradictory. I mean, the one is the emotion, and the
Yeah.
other one is the logic that she's trying to instill on herself because she's a
'Cause this
ruler and she
warder
can't be
looked at
thrown off
her.
balance.
Do we have a feeling which way those scales are weighing, one
Oh,
way
no.
or another?
Oh, I think she's attracted to the man. I think she'll. Yeah, I think something
The
will
man
end
who
up
looks like
happening
an eagle.
there.
I do, Dave. I think that they're going to end up together.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Worth noting for later.
That's-
So this group is
I mean,
gathered
that's
to
my
engage
prediction.
in a ceremony of
have been known to be
commitment,
wrong.
which has only been performed 7 times since the breaking, during
That
which
seems like a lot of years.
they cut their
No
hands and
kidding.
shake their bloody palms together, and the blood drops into the earth, committing them to each other through blood and soil.
I was trying to
I
figure
love
this
the
out.
fact. Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead, Adam.
Dave.
No. So
Well,
I,
I love
was,
the fact that
no. I'm going to let you go. Go.
the fact that the description was the boys did it like they've done it 10,000 times before. It didn't even affect them.
Right. So I was working out today and listening. I was trying to envision how all 4 of them, like how they're all holding hands at the same time.
I was
like,
thinking the
physically.
same thing. I think
I
it
was
has
trying
to
to
go-
figure out
there-
how
no,
this
the
works.
person
Right,
on
they're
the
not.
bottom-
They're everybody's hands are intersecting probably in some sort of
Oh
asterisk.
yeah, I bet if you
They're
go
gathered
like
in a
this,
circle.
You're doing it. It's a Celtic thing that we've forgotten probably.
Because we weren't there.
well,
No,
I mean,
they're only
let's not-
shaking one person's hand,
guess if
but
you're
it's
going like
the
this-
entire group.
Oh, so you
But-
think it's individual,
But you
individual,
just said there
individual?
were but you just said there were 11 people, which would insinuate that somebody's the odd person out.
So there's 11
did
11
seem-
names, but I don't know that all the sub
Right,
people,
that's true.
the plus 2s at the wedding are
Sure.
cutting their palms also.
It did seem like the description was that they did it all at one time.
Well, they
I
can
agree
do
with
it
you, Dave.
simultaneously, but obviously it's not possible for everybody to be shaking
I
everybody
mean, there
else's
is
hand
magic.
unless it's-
There is magic enough in this world for someone to be crawling into a cave, thinking that they're getting small. The cave is getting smaller and smaller and smaller,
And then
a
they're gonna wake
character
up and
next to
there's
it
a-
is just like
A
walking
band
through it,
around
like
your
it's no
arm and you've
problem.
turned into a dragon in a cave.
It
Well, I
seems
don't know
they
about
intend
that.
to travel south and
Adam, that was
do
my-
what needs to be done to Rand. So
My Prince Caspian reference.
to Dave's point, they've all committed themselves, but to do something, but we don't
Voyage
know
of the
what
Dawn
it
Treader.
is.
Yeah.
We don't know what they intend to do to Rand.
And that section
it's so
leaves off
strange.
pretty ominously.
Yeah.
With
well,
the,
we know Tenobia wants Mazrim Taim dead.
for good reason.
So sure, yeah.
And we don't trust him. I kind of want him dead.
So she probably doesn't have Rand's best interest at heart.
Yeah, who
Well,
rises up if he's dead? Though?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't care if Time's bumped off, other than he's teaching the people stuff, but I don't trust him.
I
but-
don't either.
No,
But-
but I think I'm not concerned about what they do to Taim. I'm concerned
worried
about
about
what they're
that at
going to do to
all.
Rand.
Right.
Yeah, no
Well,
kidding.
How much do we? Well, I was going to say, how much do we think they could actually do to Rand? When the answer is not much, except for the fact they got 13 sisters, which is a different matter entirely.
Yeah,
we'll
no
stop
big deal. We
talking
just
right
brought them along.
Right.
They're supping right now.
Does okay, and not only that, does anyone believe those meetings were accidental?
What
Like,
meetings?
The Aes Sedai just stumbled upon them.
Well, some of them were already there. It's Pater's sister is
Right, an
one of the
advisor
Aes
is a-
Sedai,
yeah.
and and he always has those women. They didn't just show up at his door.
But that's my whole point. Do we think 13 and
Right.
only 13
Right.
just happened to be there? I don't buy that.
I don't.
But I don't know. I don't know which
It could
Aes Sedai
happen.
they are. I don't know which faction they're from.
Yep.
Well, they're going to
That
be
is a
from
good
the
point.
tower because
Are they?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know.
Because if they were
They're
with the
probably gonna
rebels, they
be-
would have retreated
I
Why?
bet
more
about
than likely.
7 of
Because
them are
because
gonna
they
be
don't
red.
because then the tower knows where they are. Then Elida knows where they are, and she can just show up and have them removed. They're public figures. They're
she
not.
hasn't been very successful at that with the little tower so far.
I have a question. Is Elida showing
she
up
knows where it
anywhere?
is.
She seems like she's just sitting in her room looking at.
Oh, I don't know, but it makes me happy that I haven't heard about her.
Yeah. Well, we kind of are.
I mean, just
By
barely.
proxy,
we
I
get
suppose.
get the intimation that that these women are fine with keeping this secret
Yeah.
from her, which seems odd.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's secret. I've got a secret. My name is Kilroy.
So then we cut to Varen,
Oh, boy.
who's in the Aiel camp surrounding Kyrian.
She is an
So
enigma
how happy
wrapped
was
in a mystery
everyone to
surrounded by a
see
riddle.
Varen? Eric loves Varen.
I love the intrigue around Varen. The more we deal with her, the more uncertain I become.
So she's just finished.
She might be my favorite character in the entire
She's
series.
just
if I'm
finished
honest.
interrogating Tirana, one of the Aes Sedai captives,
Adam,
Yep.
spicy
and she's
take.
doing this
Maybe.
at the behest of the Wise Ones. We get a
Yep.
sense of what life is like for the captured Aes Sedai as Varen sees one sister being whipped past
I'm
the
fine with
outside
it.
of her tent in some meaningless form of labor, and
I'm
then
fine with
Those dressed
recalls
in
the
black.
punishment of another.
it. Whip it
Dave
good.
say- Dave say, okay.
Whip it into shape.
That's
Shape
how
it up.
happy you go with it.
Oh my
Whip it.
gosh. Whip it good. I'm perfect. I am all if it's the ones that beat the crap out of Rand, I'm all for it.
I know,
Yeah, that's who
there's
it's going to
the rub.
be.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
They're the women who wouldn't swear fealty to Rand.
Yep.
So they've been made Datsang.
Which as we learned is not good.
Varen
It's
seems
not good.
Varen
To
seems
summarize.
content she can avoid that type of punishment, the type of punishment she's witnessing, even as she tries to learn as much as she can about the Wise Ones. And she's failed up to this point.
Miserably.
Cerelia has asked Varen for a list of the weaknesses of the captive Aes Sedai, and Varen has willingly created a list for her.
Or Soralia. Yes. Yes. Okay,
Varen
yes.
seems to think that helping Cerelia will help her get what she wants.
What is it
Yeah.
that she wants? That's what we want to know.
We've been asking that
I
forever.
know.
That's kind of why she's my.
Yeah.
Varen tells the Aiel guarding her tent she's done with Tirana and will see Katerina Al-Rudin
Away with
next.
you.
And while looking outside of her tent, Varen sees Igraine, Green Aja, who was stilled by Rand. The woman is dressed as the Aiel women are.
Which rhymes with T-grain, but that's a different matter entirely.
We get a brief reflection of her warders having died after she was stilled, and Varen has to resist vomiting.
That is like, yeah.
It's
that
heavy.
is
It's
some
heavy D right there.
rough stuff going on.
Lorana is escorted away, shielded and under guard, and Varen has some time to reflect. And she thinks on the fact that Catswain has arrived to the camp 3 days beforehand.
She's a disruptive force.
Hey, can I ask
Disruptive.
one question
Please.
here before we seriously continue? Should we be concerned about Varen's knees? She is complaining
Or
about
her
the fact
back.
that she has to
Or her
bend
back.
over a lot. Or
Right,
her back.
Or her
yes.
back. Her
Or
physical
her back.
her physical frailty of her many
I'm concerned
years.
about Varen's
Well,
knees and back.
I'm concerned about Varen for a lot of reasons, but now you just
Yes.
added that to the list. So,
I know she's going to be rolling around at one point.
but she's a trooper, man. She decides,
I-
heck with
I
my
know.
infirmities. We're going forward.
All right. here
Speaking
we
of
go.
going forward, Eric,
Aaron, an important
Look at
wise
this lead
one,
in.
enters and
Look at
asks what Varen has learned from her interrogation. And Varen tells her the Aes Sedai were planning to keep Rand captive until Tarman Gaiden, and that he was only mistreated after he tried to escape. She thinks to
No big
herself
deal.
that this is not the whole truth.
what she actually said was, "Pardon me, boys, was that the Chattanooga choo-choo?"
Okay. She's trying to keep the Aes Sedai from capital punishment, is what she's trying to do while she's singing popular tunes from the 1920s.
The most random thing I could
These
think
Aes
of.
Sedai, they entertain themselves in strange ways,
They're
and
doing the
apparently
Charleston in the background.
Varen has traveled in time and space to.
Do you know how the Aes Sedai entertain themselves? By torturing the younger Aes Sedai. That's how they do it. For those who
show
have,
tunes.
and then whilst singing that, the Chetnik Nuga Choo Choo.
Beldine Nynaeve is brought to
Eric
Varen.
is not entertained.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Yes.
crying and laughing.
I can't.
It's just a
Eric. I
complete
cannot
non
stop.
sequitur.
It was completely random. I'm trying to
spice.
spice it up, man.
Beldine Nynaeve is brought to Varen in place of Katrina Elrudin, who we learn has
boy.
escaped.
Oh, the names.
So
are
great
still
things that had
coming at me.
happened
Like
in
that-
this camp in the last
Dave,
several
Seriously,
days.
that's
Dave,
huge.
the names are coming at me like the Chattanooga.
As they should. But that's why isn't this a bigger deal?
Well, that's what Varen is wondering.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's kind and
If
that's
the
she's
reason
like,
it's not a bigger deal is because it's an Aiel failing and they
Yeah,
sweep
true.
that
Good
under the
point.
carpet. That's
Good point.
why.
and she's
except
like,
for the
you
fact
know,
that
she's
Oh,
a
yeah, that's
red.
true.
Right.
That's kind of important. They kind of want to kill Rand to begin with.
right. The thing is, like,
No.
you know,
No,
these women that, you know, feel responsible for this are off in the corner somewhere just beating the crap out of themselves. So
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
that.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. I'm kind of a big
Yeah.
deal.
I mean, the
People
toe
know me.
that this would create
good
for
point.
these individuals would be
massively
very, very high.
accrued. Well, but are the
Yep.
ones that accrued it, aren't they dead? They got killed.
No, there. Believe me, there will be somebody
Someone-
living to blame,
Someone is
and
accruing
probably
toe
several
somewhere,
individuals.
yes. As they should. That's it.
I wish that they had
have we
someone
suspected
that
or do we know
accrued
she's
the
black?
Yeah, we know.
We know.
she's-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you got the
I-
black,
do-
and maybe or she was the head of the black or something in the tower, and now she's gone.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
All not
someone's happy
good.
about that, and they're going to rise up to be.
Yeah, that someone's name is Moradin.
Well, it's very
Oh,
clear
boy.
to Varen what's happened. She wonders if the Aiel understand exactly what they've witnessed because obviously this was a conspiracy, right? She didn't just escape on her own.
No.
Her cupbearer was poisoned.
Someone had their throats-
and,
then the
and then
cupbearer
had
was-
his throat slashed. Or I'm sorry, he
The
he
person.
brought poison to her jailers and then was killed. I mean, you know, there's obviously a conspiracy, and Varen knows that that's going to be the Black Ajah
They
at
obviously
work.
did not do the Chattanooga Choo Choo well.
Varen, so
Oh, Farron.
Oh, Baron. She's
so
Varen.
Beldine Nynaeve is brought in.
What a
She
name.
won't accept Varen's offer to heal her, and Varen suggests how bad Beldine's punishment could get, like standing naked in a tent full of Aielmen. So Beldine,
Who don't want nothing to do with you. They just.
yeah,
they're
who don't
just, like,
care,
looking at you.
right?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Beldine finally accepts Varen's offer of healing, and then immediately after Varen heals her, she engages in using the power for something else that she doesn't want the Wise Ones to know about, and seems like a dangerous subject. The weave seems a little bit like compulsion, and Varen calls it delving.
Yeah.
Matter
The
entirely.
narration goes through several sentences to differ what she is doing from compulsion.
Yes.
What Varen is doing is
It's like delving light, or it's
It's-
compulsion light.
she didn't learn it whole cloth from anybody.
Right.
She pieced it together
piecemealed it
from
together, yes.
a bunch of research that she had done.
What she was talking about is, oh, you know what? When you're young and you want to get a new outfit from your father,
Mhm.
and this is why I was asking if
They
we're gonna
did
talk
that.
about
That
this.
was a version of compulsion, but it wasn't like the full-on crazy version that Magedian uses, for example.
No,
Well,
I
this
know
is what
that,
Varen's.
but that's
This
what
is
it
what
was. It
Varen's
was a
weave is
different-
based on. Is what
Yeah.
Adam is describing.
Right, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
which is
differentiation
compulsion.
between that. She's saying it's not compulsion, and that this is just the thing that you learn as a child is how to do this.
That's why it was outlawed
And
by
then
the tower, though. It was
so-
outlawed by the tower because it was so similar to compulsion.
The things that she is basing what she did off of, it was not allowed in the tower. Yes, that is correct.
Definitely, this wasn't. And it was presented that she was trying to keep it a secret.
I
Clearly.
think that there is a difference between what the Forsaken were doing. First of all, compulsion is a much more serious version of what these women did. What these young women who were brought to the tower and had these little tricks were doing was not full on compulsion. It
Right.
was
It's like compulsion light, like I said. It's
right. It was, and remember, what Varen does still has to rely on the person themselves coming up with their own motivation for doing the things that she
Sure.
suggests.
It's kind of
Compulsion
like-
doesn't do that. Compulsion
But-
compels the individual
Well, it's like
to do
it's like
something.
being around a Taviran, and the
It's
fact
Inception.
that the
Sure.
Taviran ran influencing her to pledge allegiance to him. That's not the right word, but you'd follow me. It's the thing that you wouldn't have said one time out of 1,000 times, but one time you would have said it. It's kind of
Yes,
like this
definitely.
compulsion light, where it's not something you normally would do, but you might have done it. As opposed to
I would not-
compulsion is, I'm going to make
No,
you do this.
I think that there's your
I
point
would
is
say-
valid. I don't think the analogy is good, but the point is, yes, the point is that she's not forcing anyone. Well,
Well, no,
It's
a
here-
very
here
fine
is the-
point.
yeah.
Hey. The difference here, can I please have my piece? There is a huge difference here, though. Like compulsion, if you're doing it, is someone going to die by doing compulsion? You can just make them do whatever you want, but they're not going to die, right?
Here's notes on it.
We don't know a lot on compulsion up to this point.
But
Notes
what we
looking
do
on it
know
is,
about
quote unquote,
Okay.
it is akin to compulsion.
Yeah,
Here,
it's not
but the
It's like a
compulsion.
difference
sister
here-
of. Yeah.
But the difference here is that
That's
when
all.
she's using it, there is a description about the fact that this person may die from it
Yes.
within
Kind of
10 years
or a year.
or maybe before it.
Or less than a year.
Well, and
So there's
she's
a big difference there between compulsion and then using this and being like, oh no, I'm using it, but it's not compulsion, but they might die.
and even with her understanding that the person is going to die, there is the suggestion that they don't actually die from the weave itself. So even there is a fine distinction. Now, a lot of this is
Yeah, this
just
is all very
Varen's
confusing.
rationalization in order to make herself feel better about what she's doing. However,
Yep.
what she's this just raises more questions about her. And
Yep.
it sure makes it seem, and remember also, there is the suggestion that she has done this thing to the wise ones to get her into this position in the first place.
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
Because
Interesting.
she mentions the fact that she had used other means to convince them to do this. That she had gone through a lot of work to get to this point.
I never thought about that.
And
Interesting.
And then we see her use this influence that she has. So
It's very intriguing that she's using this, and apparently it's effective, but it might kill somebody.
what does that make us think about Varen?
That's what I was just saying at the start of this conversation.
I know.
I don't know what to think about her. She's very Machiavellian in her process and the ways that she does things.
Well, she's a pragmatist.
I think
yes.
she's very, 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 very well informed and can read people very well.
Remember also that when she thinks
she's
through
old.
the fact that Katrina has been
Katrina?
Not
Alrud-
Katrina, Katarina.
or Katerina.
He's thinking about
has
our
been,
sister.
Has been escorted away. She also seems to have some kind of an understanding of the Black Aja's organization. I just think that there's a lot of evidence that she might be on the other side.
Oh,
And
I
if
know.
she is,
Hats off.
she's not helping the other side at all.
Love it.
It's been 71 years since she last
Well-
made a serious mistake.
This is my question. What is that?
Yeah, it's crazy that she remembers the exact amount of years. And now I really want to know what that mistake is.
Well, and I
So,
wonder
would
if
that
it's
be
tied to
the-
the death of one of the what do they call the head of the Aes Sedai?
Yeah, was it the
The
Amaryllis
Amaryllis
seat?
seat. Yeah, I wonder if it's related to the death of one of the Amaryllis, because remember there were those two Amaryllis who died like within succession of each other.
I do remember that, and I don't remember their names.
I don't recall their names either, but it was
Bjorgrifa and Homulid.
I don't think it would have been that long ago. I don't think it would have been 70 years ago. I think it would have been closer to around the time of the birth of Rand. So I don't think that's what it is, but that's something that's significant.
Yeah. I haven't made a mistake in 71 years. It seems like, oh, but you're about to.
Oh, and here's the quotation on you guys were talking about you might have missed the suggestion that she had used this on Amis and Soralia. The from the book it says she'd been afraid Aeron intended to remain. Gaining permission to be alone with the prisoners had required nearly as much effort as getting Soralia and Amis to decide that they needed to be questioned and by someone intimate with the White Tower. If they ever learned they had been guided at that decision, and so on.
See, I don't know that I take that as she was using this thing on them as opposed to her being really, and this is contrary view, her being really, she's really skilled at manipulation in general, I think, which is questionable in terms of, like you said, what side she's on. But she's been, in all those conversations she had with Matt and Perrin and Rand and all these different instances with what's-her-face that bonded Rand, the Green, starts with an A. She's been really good at steering things to go the way she wants. And I don't think, because in order to do this, and therefore she would have had to have these wise ones alone by themselves. They don't trust an Aes Sedai to begin with. She would have had to get them somehow to let her lay this magical spell upon them in general. That seems like a lot to happen.
She's very worried about them discovering that they'd been guided. So,
which can come from different sources.
There's a suggestion here that she took a direct hand in making it happen, as opposed to just using words to argue a point.
We're using words, Dolly.
We would say more than words. Oh. There definitely is a suggestion that she did that.
So on to
I don't buy it.
On to Morodin.
Morodin.
The prologue ends with him sitting in his palace. He's playing a complex game called Charade.
I'm so curious about this.
The game's similar to Stones, but more complicated. Right. The major piece is called The Fisher, and as he stares at it, we realize that this piece is sort of like...
we realize it's Robin Williams.
It's an analog for Rand al'Thor. The Fisher is the most important piece in the game, and like the king in chess, also quite vulnerable. So it relies on...
This is going to tie into something I'm going to talk about later.
Things other for support.
I'm dropping seeds.
We learned that Morodin is playing both sides. So there was...
Right.
Dave, you suggested that maybe Varen was playing both sides. Here's another character who's first of all...
He flat out
admits
a
Forsaken, but somehow he is playing both sides. So with the prologue... larger than it appears in our rear view mirror, let's look out from the Dragon's Memorial for our view from Dragonmount.
View from Dragonmount, Part 2.
Yeah, side view, you're right. So Chapter 1.
Part 2. Oh, yeah, this is the
To keep the bargain. Star and Gulls.
We kind of made it up, and then there was a rock slide.
And then there was more.
So the first chapter opens midwinter with a survey of the oceans south and west of the Westlands. The Shan-Chan seem to be sailing the ocean in great numbers, and the sea folk ships fill the continent's harbors in the hundreds. Not yet the storms of winter's heart, though winter should have been half gone, so we're well into winter.
Yep. Nothing's happening.
But winter isn't really winter. It's the ever-existing whatever
summer.
we're in.
Right.
It's the 7 days of summer.
On the island
Yep.
of Tremel King, on a hill, there
Tremel
sits the
7
statue of
summer
a
hams.
giant hand holding a crystal sphere larger than a house.
7 summer hams.
Avienda walks through the halls of the Terrazin Palace in Altara, concerns for the still missing Ulver heavy on her mind. She also feels as if she's being watched. She's followed by Nynaeve, Lan, Elaine, and Brigitte, who are bickering. The opening of the chapter is told from Avienda's point of view. She's frustrated with herself for enjoying a conversation about dresses, and we get a sense of the change that's occurred in her. She's moving from a spear maiden to a wise one. They run into Teslin Baradon, an Aes Sedai of the Red Aja
really
sent
nice
by
fashion
Elaida to
sense.
Ibu Dar as punishment. Teslin tells them that though she'll not see them punished for being part of the rebellious faction, she will inform Elaida of their doings in Ibu Dar. But before Teslin leaves, Avienda tries to warn her of the presence of Moghedien, the Golem, and the Black Aja. And Teslin accuses Nynaeve of flights of fancy and departs.
It's really upsetting.
I mean,
Like
not
that
really.
was a
I
weird
mean,
moment.
yeah.
Like
She's gonna get hers.
She's extending the olive branch. It's
Right,
like
yeah.
if the olive branch is what
You're right.
the olive branch is draped in hemlock. Like I don't.
No, they
It was
were
poisonous
extending
to
her
begin
the
with.
olive branch, and she smacked it away in favor of hanging out with Forsaken, the Black Aja, and a golem.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know that.
She's
And
like,
I said,
I like
and
these
she
guys.
does know that. They just told her.
She doesn't believe.
Right, that's her.
She's
right.
not
she
the
does
only
not
one.
believe
The
them.
people on the good side
That's
don't
true.
believe the golem exists either.
That's true, Dave.
Well,
You're
remember,
right. You're
all these
becoming-
people
you're
are
very
fleeing
practical about it. I
because of the
understand
golem. This whole parade.
I
So-
have no sympathy for Tesla whatsoever. But I'm
Right.
saying people also don't believe the golem is real.
Sure.
that. I agree with that, but she should know better.
She is not.
But
Any better.
I do love the fact that she has to go hang out with these folk.
Maybe the golem will come for her.
Yeah, but what if they just get
If we could
along?
be so lucky.
It's a buddy cop movie.
It's Stallone and Kurt Russell and Tesla.
Yeah.
So we learned through the narration that the Festival of Birds has just passed. So we're a little behind where A Crown of Swords ended, or a little in front of.
But
actually.
not kneecaps of arrows.
That is what? Seriously? That's insane. Okay.
The group
Blows my mind.
The group runs into a very entitled Renila Din Callan. To avoid a confrontation with the woman, Nynaeve goes to see the knitting circle and Elaine to see after the Aes Sedai.
The knitting circle.
Avienda is left to stare at the Seafolk Windfinder. Approaching the kin, we see that they've
He's
been
just
put in
staring
charge
up.
of Ispan, much to their dismay.
Yeah.
The Aes Sedai are keeping the Bowl of Winds, but would also like to have been put in charge of of Ispan. Renala Din Callan calls for haste and threatens to take the Bowl of Winds if the bargain is not met. The bowl had once belonged to the Seafolk, so they're looking forward to taking it back. An argument breaks out between the kin and the Seafolk, and Nynaeve shouts it down. Avienda then opens a gateway using the knowledge of her experience helping Rand flee the Shan Chan those many months ago. And she takes them to a spot miles north of Ibu Dar.
I wonder how many miles it is.
It's a couple, because remember that
Is it like as the crow
2.5.
flies?
remember
It's
Moradin
2.5.
senses exactly the distance
does, he
away
does.
from the city.
That guy's got like superpowers upon superpowers.
Avienda
No
again
kidding.
feels as if she's
No
being
kidding.
watched and looks up to see the black silhouette of a man on a walkway between the domes high above the city.
Or a man that's
It
not a
doesn't
man.
seem like anyone takes her seriously.
They don't, and it's frustrating, and they should.
It's very annoying.
Well, they're all in a rush, and nobody's really all that happy with anyone
And
else.
she's just one of those Aiel anyhow, so what do they know?
But Avienda tells one of the
point,
Aiel
Dave.
to give a word of warning to Elaine to see one of the and looks up again to see that the man is gone.
And yet that's never passed along.
And the chapter closes with Avienda wishing the procession would move faster. So chapter 2 is entitled Unweaving and has the Viper glyph. It begins with Elaine's point of view as the group from chapter 1 move through the gateway to their destination. They're on their way to the Kin's farm to use the Bowl of Winds, and we learn that it's going to take a circle of 13 women channeling through the Bowl of Winds to heal the weather. We also learned that one of the conditions of the bargain struck with the Sea Folk was that the Aes Sedai teach the Sea Folk all the Sea Folk want to learn. The Aes Sedai are not big fans of this.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. They're like, you can have two things.
This is like it's a boiling pot of oil and a boiling pot of water just dumped into each other.
So this contingent travels with the contents they took from the Angreal cache. Elaine thinks that the Dark Friends only got away with a quarter of the contents in that storeroom, and she starts to sort out the Terangreal from the chattel and the baskets, the panniers that they have on their horses, which is where they've transferred all this stuff for transport. And she finds an Angreal, and we get the story of Martine Giannata, who was the last of the Aes Sedai to study Terangreal because she burned herself out doing
40-some years ago, there was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
She might have burned herself out. Didn't remember it.
But all the Aes Sedai did, and
Her
nobody
order
touched them
died.
afterward.
You know. Oops. Oopsies. So maybe don't do that.
Well, that's what everybody tells Elaine, but she's not going to listen.
But Elaine's like, by the way, you can suck it. I'm going to keep doing this. Yeah.
Avienda picks apart the weave of the gateway that she has opened, and all the Aes Sedai freak out. And of course, we know that she's done this. She's done this because of the man that she saw at the end of the last chapter, but she has to explain herself to the Aes Sedai.
She explains it like this. Now, I'm Star Jones, and I'm a lawyer.
It appears that what Avienda has done is a major Aes Sedai no-no.
Yeah.
And also a very rare talent.
By the way,
did we know that
she wins plus 5 points for that?
No. Okay.
Plus 5 points for experience and agility.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The chapter then cuts to Morodin watching the group we've just seen with from behind one of the wrought iron encased windows overlooking the stable yard. Yeah, he's
everywhere and anywhere. Oh, savoir faire.
He is the man Avienda has seen. Yeah. He's traveled to
on point.
Ibu Dar, curious of what drew Samael there.
No big deal. I'm just going to drop facts. Boom.
Matic enters to inform Morodin that the party he's just watched disappeared. Wait, that the party he's just watched disappear have a Terangreal that can control the weather. And Morodin becomes enraged by the news that there are Aes Sedai, that the Aes Sedai plan to fix the weather, and accidentally kills Matic.
But that moment is so funny.
By the way,
when he kills Matic,
I've accidentally killed this guy. He's in a bloody pool.
Because didn't he also break a glass in his hand at one point?
Yes.
Yeah, the wine glass. So he's got wine and blood mixed in his hand, and then a dead guy.
Well, the other funny thing
floor.
is, this is the guy who just in the prologue previously was laughing happily to himself because everything was going according to plan.
So where do we think? So he somehow went from there to here.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he traveled.
Where do we think the there is?
Well, the there seems like a place outside of time and place.
But
it's
somewhere
in
with a
dimension.
Fireplace that he seems to really like.
Anywhere. Yeah. And that's true. Some other dimension.
Another
dimension. Another dimension. Then the chapter cuts to the golem. As the golem enters the room, Morodin is just left.
He was just there, yeah. But I think this is amazing because it's like the evil and the evil, but the two evils are not on the same page.
Right.
And I do feel like the golem walks up like Jim Carrey in The Grinch.
Okay, go with this. Go with this. I want to hear this.
He's just walking with his hands behind his back like just the golem.
Super sneaky.
But like real comfy.
Right.
No, not even sneaky.
Oh. It's been watching the procession from the perch, and the golem is the silhouette that Avienda saw, not Morodin.
But I like the fact that we finally
does it even matter?
Finally, well, yeah, well, I think so. We've gotten like a physical, finally, a description of. So he's an average height guy.
He's
the golem.
The golem is.
He's very much like the Gray Man. I mean, he's
right.
Yeah,
so he's like the Gray Man, but the Gray Man times 1,000.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can pick up that way up or far away, and he's up there and detectable to her.
Well, she skylights him. I mean, he's right up against.
Why
the
would
sun.
this crazy, super talented guy leave himself up for that? He is the worst of the worst, and he's.
I think what we see is a lot of overconfidence in these folk.
Maybe that's
that
what
are
it is.
very
Well, no, I
powerful.
mean, what's they're all leaving. I don't know that there's any danger in her seeing him. Actually, I don't think it presents any danger to him at all.
Well, he's
Yeah,
overconfident.
I agree with that. Well,
No, I
don't
think he's
that-
appropriately
I agree with-
confident.
yeah.
Except for, this other guy.
But
named
no one
Matt.
is actually believing her really entirely anyhow. So what does it matter for him?
Yeah, I mean, so and
He's
look,
kinda
he's
coolly looking
following
at, like,
around
I'm
Moradin, who is probably the most most important
Yeah.
and dangerous Forsaken. So I would say that's where his problem is more than being spotted by.
So who do we think is
Yeah,
controlling
I
this
agree
guy?
with that.
Or
I
who
think
sent
he's on his own, like
orders?
another- he's
No,
another
someone sends the
Pond
orders.
fan.
Someone always sends the
Sure.
orders for the
Do
golem.
they?
Yes, they do.
Well,
And all of a sudden he wants his self-consciousness to be able to do his own thing, but he's got orders. And I don't know who sent the
Well,
orders.
he's not following Moradin based on orders. The
It's
only
not
reason he's
Moradin.
following Moradin is because he
I don't think
sensed
he's
the
following
true source.
Morden. Well, I
Right,
think
he's just
doing it.
curious about who's using the true
Yeah.
source because it's so rare.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't think
So
he
it's a very
knows what the true source is. He's got a dim recollection of something, and I think what it actually, my belief is, it's not the true source he's recognizing; it's his connection to the dark one that he's recognizing, because he recognizes that.
I'm pretty
As-
sure the book says it's
Whoa.
out of curiosity for the true source.
But he doesn't know what the true source is. He just recognizes
think I know
a
what the true
feeling,
source is.
of something. The true source is the saw going across Morden's eyes.
No, the true source is a
Whoa,
different
It's
It's tied
weave
directly
of the
to
power.
yes, it's
right.
tied
It's
directly
not the one
to
source.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's not the
It's the
power.
evil- it's the evil
one
power.
yeah.
The chapter ends with the golem feeding on the remains of Maddox.
Well, Maddox sucked anyhow.
Fortunately, he's dead, so you can't
he's dead.
feel
He's
it.
quite dead.
Chapter 3, A Pleasant Ride, has the Wheel of Time glyph. Resuming Elaine's point of view, we learn that Avienda's message of warning regarding the man she'd seen watching them never reaches Elaine. Avienda's furious that the Windfinder she addressed never brought Elaine the warning and wishes to vent her anger on the sea folk.
And she does.
Elaine calms her and for the moment, but then
She says, "Simmer
Adelius
down
approaches
now."
and suggests that following Avienda to frighten the sea folk may actually allow the Aes Sedai to regain some footing after what they've lost through Elaine's bargain with them. And we learn further detail of the bargain, including the sea folk get to keep the Bowl of Winds after its use to fix the weather. 20 Aes Sedai will go to the sea folk and teach them, teach their Windfinders anything they wish,
Who chooses them?
while also being subject to their laws. The 20 sisters can only leave when 20 more replace them. And
So
the
weird.
Windfinders will be allowed to enter the tower as guests and learn whatever they wish while they're there and leave whenever they want.
Don't like it.
Boy.
Pretty
I tell you what,
one-sided bargain, it would seem.
yeah. I don't want to be Elaine or Nynaeve going back to talk to Gawain and being like, so we made this bargain.
I think
and
Gawain is
I don't want to be
Probably-
a nice Sedai
I
at that
didn't
point.
get the best end of this bargain.
I would not want to be one of those
Hi.
20 Aes Sedai, right, Adam?
Well, and there are very few of them to begin with at this point. So, well, I mean, they're growing, I suppose.
Elaine takes Adelius' advice and allows Avienda to confront the Windfinders. And the chapter proceeds with each faction complaining to Elaine. So Elaine's just getting complaints from everybody.
She's bombarded, and I love the fact that the chapter is called a pleasant ride or something like that, and it could be anything further from the truth.
Right, yeah.
It's absolute miserable. ride.
Ironic. Through the Aes Sedai's complaint that they should be the ones guarding Ispan, we learn that even the youngest member of the knitting circle is older than the oldest Aes Sedai.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So these women are old,
This
ancient.
mystery keeps being mentioned, and
Yep.
it keeps being mentioned like they're older than you even thought before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's wackadoo.
Elaine is frustrated because she feels that Nynaeve would be much better at fending off these forays, but she's glued to Lan's side, so Elaine is stuck having to handle all this by herself. And as the chapter ends, we learn that they use the Bowl of Winds, and Elaine plans on heading to Camelin to claim her crown.
Oof.
So we learn that they're
Good
going
on
to
ya.
use the Bowl of Winds. Chapter 4, A Quiet Place, has the Dark Friends silhouettes.
Do you think that John Krasinski?
I really, really hope
Yes, I'm
he
sure
did.
it was high in his mind when he
could have
created the title.
Eh,
Our
good.
Bowl of Winds collective arrives at the Kin's farm, which is a giant sprawling affair with 4 barns and several farmhouses. The place is known as a sort of Betty Ford clinic for women in the area. They're greeted by
He named
Alice,
names.
the current head of the farm, but several moments into the greeting, a woman of the farm sees Karina's face and shouts, "Aes Sedai! Aes Sedai!"
I had to back
And the
that
whole
up 'cause
farm
it was so
starts
ridiculous.
running around in a panic.
No kidding.
Adam, we were waiting for your
It's like the
Aes Sedai.
geese. The
Yeah.
geese are. Pardon me.
Well,
It's
we
just
gave a
crazy.
crazy Aes Sedai. We're waiting
Oh,
for
yeah.
yours.
There
it is.
no, but yeah, it was like just geese are running everywhere.
Yeah.
And or ganders. I don't know. Gooses, ganders, both of them, running everywhere.
Is it
Come on.
Alice or Elise? How is this
Elise.
name pronounced?
Elise.
Elise.
Yeah,
Elise.
Elise confronts Rihanna for bringing Aes Sedai here, and Rihanna hurriedly explains that the Aes Sedai have always been aware of their society and that they've reached an arrangement whereby the kin can return to the tower.
This is another name section.
Yes, there are just tons and
Oh
tons
my
of names in these
Another
first
one.
6 chapters.
That's another
Nynaeve
name
sends the
section.
warders after some fleeing women, and eventually the circumstances are brought under control.
Yeah, that was after fleeing. Yeah,
As
okay.
things calm down, Elaine sees that Adelaus and Van Deen have taken charge of Ispan, and she follows the woman to a building. Ispan claims that she was acting on Elida's orders, but nobody believes her. We learn a little bit about Tower law when it comes to interrogation, so there's no bloodshed or broken bones, and healing has to be given beforehand.
I'm not a fan.
If the questioning started after sunrise,
Simon,
it
you
had to
want
end
broken
before
bones?
sundown. If after
I do.
sunset, then before sunrise. Sidar cannot be used in questioning or punishment for tower initiatives. Salad bar, yeah.
Salad bar. Another.
been a
We
while.
keep bringing up Eric's great topic conversation starter
Well,
thing about Jiggers
Salad
that I
bar.
can't
Yeah,
talk
it's
about.
great.
Elaine feels that she and Avienda may be in a better position to question Ispan because they've not held the oath rod,
We're going to come back to this later.
and also because they've
Mm.
not long been indoctrinated into tower law. Just as she's questioning the wisdom of engaging in more strenuous methods of interrogation, Van Deen takes she and Avienda outside to suggest that herself and her sister are in a much better position to do what needs to be done with Ispan. And Elaine acquiesces, and shortly afterward, Van Deen disappears into the farmhouse, and a weave is cast ominously over the building as it becomes very, very quiet.
Oh, Van Deen.
There's a moment of silence, basically.
Elaine takes Avienda with her to search the items that they've taken from the Terangriel cache, and in addition to a sizable collection of Terangriel, she finds 2 more Angriel to go with the one that she had discovered earlier. And after a while,
What was all that stuff?
Nynaeve comes and gets them to work with the Bowl of Winds.
Big things. Big things.
Just like table legs.
I
Which
don't know what
match.
that means, but okay.
Which
yes.
takes us to chapter 5, The Breaking Storm with the White Lion glyph.
the White Lion.
So again, from Elaine's point of view, the group we've been following gathers at the top of the large hill that overlooks the farm. It's quite a large hill, as they can see for miles. Avienda arrives, and while staring over the sheer edge of the hill, tells Elaine that she has failed her terribly by her inability to hold the gateway perfectly and also interrogate Ispan. She says if she had another failure in service to Elaine, she would die. Elaine takes her away from the cliff's edge.
Everyone's dying.
Elaine confronts her and gives her the Angriel she has pocketed from the Panniers. Nynaeve then leaves the sea folk and approaches Elaine. She confesses to Elaine that Lan has her acting foolishly, and she trusts Elaine to let her know when she's acting that way.
Yep.
Elaine tells Nynaeve to suck it up and lead.
Suck it up. Love it.
Stop it.
Elaine's doing well.
She gives Nynaeve the ring and bracelet, Angreal, and Nynaeve then takes charge of the group on the hill. Elaine has no desire to lead the group that is going to work with the Bowl of Winds. Has there ever been another time in this book series that you can think of when Elaine had conceded authority to another group as she does here?
Is it really conceding it though?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, she thinks to herself, she's glad she doesn't have to do this. She would much rather this other group do this. And this is the only other time.
Yeah, agreed.
Then Rhaenella calls the Windfinders into place. Caradin Gellin Running Wave then takes charge, claiming the Bowl of Winds has been lost to the Sea Folk for 2,000 years. The time they used the bowl to, at that time they used the bowl to calm the oceans after the breaking. She studied the Sea Folk's ancient texts on the bowl and claims to know more of it than any other woman alive. And then orders Nynaeve to begin the linking of the circle. Nynaeve instructs the party and reader how a circle works. And at a certain point, Rhaenella suggests that the Aes Sedai will use this control. You will use this to control the Windfinders, but Saratha tells her that's not possible, though Elaine suspects Saratha has left something out.
Might be.
Nynaeve releases control of the growing circle to Elaine, and then Elaine completes the circle by relinquishing control to Kara.
It's a lot of
or Kyra.
Handing off.
As Elaine looks on, the Bowl of Winds shoots a column of Sidar into the sky and then begins to draw insight in. And as she continues to look on, there appears to be another power that weaves, in addition to the weaves of Sidin and Sidar, because they're wrapping themselves around this third suspected power. And as quickly as it begins, Kara breaks the circle and it's done. And the abrupt way that she breaks the circle is quite jarring to the rest of those who are channeling into it. Kara assures the other women that the work might take a while to take effect, but it's done. And Nynaeve and Elaine still feel Sidar in the air, and then to the south, where Ibu Dar lies, there are lightning forks of Sidar.
Uh-oh.
And they fear that the Forsaken have come to get them, and Elaine decides that rather than hopelessly try to rescue Matt and those in Ibu Dar, they need to flee.
Hi. So...
And then the Seanchan arrive.
Let's unpack before the Seanchan arrive for a second. Massive, massive, massive powers, or amounts of the power being drawn here. How is a Forsaken not shown up? Like, what's going on? You would think they're paying attention. All of a sudden, like, none of the female Forsaken, which I think
apparently they have to be within proximity of this.
But this is a massive
It is,
amount.
but it's not enough that it could be felt all across the entire continent. I mean, there's the suggestion
I don't know.
Yeah, no. There's the suggestion that anybody as close as Ibu Dar would certainly feel it, but there's also the suggestion that there is a proximity beyond which people
I think it's a pretty
know.
darn large proximity.
I like that.
I don't think it's large enough that
they can go harder.
I don't think it's large enough that they would feel it in the other major cities.
Faster, longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
we already know that Moradin's paying attention to these people.
But he's there. He's in Ibu Dar.
But do we not think no one else is?
Well,
Moghedien's not? She hates these people.
Well, we know that she's in Ibu Dar.
She's got to be within radius.
But remember also that she's got to be really concerned that she not get caught not doing what Moradin has set her to do, which we don't know. So she's lucky she's not there, because if she were to show up there, Moradin might be aware of it, and then she'd be in even worse trouble. So the Seanchan arrive, and some of the women shoot a rockin' out of the sky with balls of fire. Elaine orders them to flee the hilltop, and everybody does.
In the sky, keep on turning.
Which takes us to Chapter 6, Threads with the Seanchan helmet.
Wheels in the sky, keep on turning.
So the Bowl of Winds contingent rushes to the farm where Alice has everyone preparing for departure. Elaine tells Rhaenella that she will not consider the bargain with the Sea Folk complete until the weather improves and Matt is safe. she just throws in there. I'm not sure how that ties into the
magically
bargain
safe.
at all, but there we go.
Like that guy.
Elise has everything ready to depart from the farm shortly after the Bowl of Wind's arrival. Adelius and Van Deen appear with a much mollified Ispan. Elaine opens a gateway to a field 2 miles from one of Morghase's manors, a few miles outside Camelin. We learn Elaine is putting in motion her plans to claim the crown of Andor.
Oh, I love it.
Elaine
for it.
Elaine decides she'll do with the gateway what Avienda has done to the gateway that brought them there.
Not a good start.
She doesn't want the Shan-Chan Damani to see the weaves and learn how to travel. I mean, she's got a good reason for doing it. It's just
not Avienda.
This is not the wise thing to do if you've never done it before or not been trained.
So, do we think? So Avienda intimated about, like, I feel like she intimated that the wise ones and or their apprentices have done this before. Do we think Avienda has done this before?
Yes, Avienda's been trained.
So, like, they're in a field. They're like, here, take this weave on.
Yes, she talks about the process of how they get trained.
Yep.
That they
therefore,
learn very, very slowly.
We've got Elaine just like, oh, okay, here we go.
Well,
I'm
Elaine's
about
just
to crash
doing
in a
what
telephone
Elaine
pole
does
with my dad. Here we go.
Yeah,
like,
Elaine she's just doing what she does, which is to
grab the wheel and take a rein and go. Yeah. And
which is not to concern herself with the risk. She wants to do something, and so she's going to do it.
It's commendable, and
whether it's wise or not.
Commendable at the same time.
I mean, she has a good reason for doing it, but this was unwise and very dangerous. The Shan-Chan then appear with Suldam and Damane and damage the gateway, or just beyond the gateway. Elaine screams, "Get down," and lightning shoots through the gateway. A Shan-Chan shouts that they must be taken alive, and the Shan-Chan begin emerging through the gateway. Elaine tries to regain hold of the threads of the gateway.
Does this feel familiar?
Well, right. That's the last time that Avienda did this, and that's the first time she ever created a gateway. So
and it's also the fault of her shame. Like, why she can't. That's why she can't make a gateway, because of her block, if you will.
Yeah.
Which is crazy on a lot of other levels.
A Shan-Chan.
Flying what?
Shan-Chan shouts that they must be taken alive. Elaine tries to regain hold of the threads of the gateway and realizes it's all she can do to just hang on. She's not going to be able to unweave this thing. Elaine realizes she can't hold on forever and tells the other two to flee. And instead, Brigitte has the two channelers get on horses riding backwards so that they can see where they are channeling as they head away and shoot at the Shan-Chan. So as the three flee together, Avienda continues to channel at the Shan-Chan, and Elaine hangs on desperately to the gateway to keep it from collapsing and destroying them all. As they reach the crest of the hill, Elaine sees a Suldam preparing to have her shielded. Avienda knocks she and Elaine to the ground as the shockwave of the collapsed gateway rushes over them. So the gateway explodes because Elaine can't hold on any longer and knocks them to the ground, and we're to assume destroys the Shan-Chan as well. The group scrambles to find each other and Elaine, and realizes she has avoided burning herself out and those around her. And they climb to the top of the hill to look over the devastation surrounding the collapsed gateway.
And there's not a small amount.
No, I thought this was a great way. I thought this was a great way for this all to occur. You know, for them to be put in danger by the Shan-Chan and escape it because of Elaine's hubris, essentially. Because that is right in character with Elaine to do something like this, and she does it for the right reasons. And it's also their salvation in this instance. I just thought the whole thing came together really, really nicely. So then we join the Marat Rakan, who is surveying the field of battle below that we've just been part of. We learn that the High Lady Suroth is heading onto the continent from Amadisha. Chulain and her co-pilot Alaya are then hit by the shockwave of the collapsing gateway. Chalain survives the resulting plunge and the last-second recovery, but Elia does not. She turns her beast around to return, worried about this new weapon that she has just witnessed. And that completes the 6 chapters.
Also,
Here we go.
Oh my goodness, that was a mouthful.
So Adam, what shook your willow?
Mine is that that Matara, the Windfinder, was as strong as Elaine.
Oh
and
yeah,
that
she's like third cast. She's like the sub of the sub of the sub.
We're gonna we're gonna get into that.
Oh, Adam's getting into it right now.
And then I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Eric.
Nor should you have.
Talon was close to Nynaeve. We just keep getting these people that are just
the
no big
randos.
deal.
They're the NPCs who all of a sudden
big
have
deal.
so much crazy power.
The thing that I appreciate about this is now it's not like, oh, how fortunate that the three main female characters that we've run into or that we have also happen to be the 3 most powerful women in this world. Like at least now there's this is a little bit more common.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel forced.
Other people up to snuff.
Yeah.
So that was
That was it. It was easy?
That's good. I like that. Mine was Elaine's going through these Angreal and we get a description of what they all look like and what her Angreal actually is.
Wow.
It was made for that's the one that she gives to Nynaeve. There's one with a seated woman in age dark and ivory, her legs folded in front of her, her exposed knees bare, but with hair so long and luxuriant, she could not have been more muffled in the heaviest cloak. It was not even as strong as the turtle that Elaine had, but she found it very appealing.
The turtles are
I
important.
love that. It's been a while since we've had a reading from Eric about the description.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot of description of clothing and that. That's wonderful.
Right. Yeah.
And we all know Adam appreciates that.
I do.
Adam
I definitely
appreciates some sartorial description.
Something about the nose or whatever it was.
The nose is right. Yeah.
Give me a surrounding of what's happening.
What shook your willow, Dave?
So it was the Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
If I say Fisher, not Fissure. The Fisher in the quote unquote chess game, if you will, that is basically Rand.
Mm-hmm. It is,
but
Rand.
it's Rand with a side injury. So
Rand has a side injury,
right? But these pieces have been around a long time.
Well, we don't know that the pieces that he's using have been around a long time.
I feel like that's what they're intimating here.
Also, we don't know that this is actually a real physical thing either. This could be something
I
that
feel like
he's created.
I feel like we do, and I feel like okay. So if that's the case, how long has this wheel been repeating itself?
Oh boy.
Like this is a thing that's been going on for a long time, and we've had the regeneration of the dragon in multiple cycles for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have they all always had this? Is this something that Rand is just repeating? He's repeating the injury aside because some guy 2,000 years beforehand had that also?
Probably.
It'd be thousands and thousands of years ago.
Right. So you're just going. That's my point.
The question isn't is it repeating? The question is how detailed is this repetition? Because we know that all of this is a repetition of things that have gone on before, but we don't know to what detail.
No, we don't.
We don't know how granular the repetition is.
I feel like this predates Luz Theron. Like it's before that. So it's more of the wheel turned and whatever they say, in the chapter introductions.
You feel like what predates Luz Theron, just so we
does
can
it matter
be
if
sure.
it predates?
Because there was
Theron?
someone before Luz
What
Theron.
predates Luz Theron?
This character, this King Arthur, if you will, this
the
person,
piece? The chess piece?
The chess piece is a representation of the dragon.
Of the person of
and
Rand.
the dragon has been here forever, and the dragon, by proxy, is the light. has been here since the dawn of time, if you will, and it's reintegrating in different forms, but this person has had a side injury. It's ran
Right. To what detail? I don't read it that way. I read it more that he is creating these chess pieces because he's living in like that thing with that room with the flames is all a piece of his own creation in whatever this dimension is that he's created for his hideaway. So in that way, I feel like the chessboard is also.
You feel like the chessboard is updating itself?
Yes. Mm-hmm, yeah. That it's working in sort of real time. Well, that takes us into culture clash.
Oh.
So,
Not
you know,
culture club. That's a different thing.
Totally different. So you were talking about these different groups and how they're interacting with each other. Throughout these first 6 chapters, we have 3 diverse societies in proximity of each other. And we learn about each society by the contrast that they have with the other societies. So, like, you know, we learn about the difference between the structure of the kin and the structure of the Aes Sedai. You know, how would you say the Aes Sedai society is constructed?
I think there's a pretty recognizable hierarchy.
Yeah, based on what?
Who's risen to the occasion?
No,
who's the highest?
No, it's based on just how much strength and the power you have. It's purely based on that. I'm not talking about the political structure. That's different.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the societal structure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Which the power is essentially a genetic predisposition, and then you've got the structure of the kin.
Seems like it.
Which is
unless you're Varen,
which is based on age, right?
Yeah, the mysterious age of however old they are.
Well, right, but I mean, they know how old they are, and they're
right.
the ones who structure their own society. So it's based on age and skill. And then was it you or Dave who was talking about the structure of the sea folk?
Dave.
Okay. So this is where that conversation about the structure of the sea folk and, you know, sort of how they have these powerful women who are in their midst, but they don't have any greater standing in the in the society. And so it's really, really interesting. You know, it really leads to the questioning of the way that the Aes Sedai choose to operate.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even Elaine starts to question that structure, and do
you think that's going to be a problem with Egwene and Elaine?
No. I don't think.
Okay.
I think this is a passing thought. I don't think it's anything that she's going to pursue.
Good.
What society would you think you would like to live in amongst these 3?
Being out at the sea doesn't seem like a great thing.
But that has nothing to do with the societal structure. I'm just talking about the societal structure. How would you say that the sea folk are organized?
They have a very, very structured.
Is it a caste system where you're born into your stature?
So.
I don't think so.
It seems like you work the hardest.
It's a meritocracy. You think?
Agreed. Yes, absolutely merit based.
Yeah.
And I think you can rise to wherever you go. I don't think it's based on who you are in your family or that crap. But at the same time, it may take a long time to get to where you need to go.
But also, it does kind of help out if you do have superpowers.
There is that.
But not all that much, because you were just describing that super strong woman was only a wind finder.
The 3 of them, the 3 lowest were the strongest of anybody.
Yep.
So which of these 3 societies would you most want to live in?
I wish I had that personality to live in that society. I don't think I would thrive in any of them.
Well, I didn't ask which one you would thrive in. I asked which one you would most want to live in. But,
Give me the C. Give me the C.
After you just complained about it, that's where you
Well,
end up.
then I was thinking about, oh my gosh, the stars you would see. Would be
Once again,
amazing.
like you're not actually answering the question.
Answer the question.
I am.
You're answering
I'm
the
saying
question
that's
if
what
I
I wanna live
asked what location would you most want to live in? But that's
Would you
not
want to
what
live
I'm
in the
asking.
Bronx or Queens?
I think I would like to live with.
Give me
I
the
think
same.
the kin society would treat me the best.
But the problem,
Yeah,
so my
I
problem
would
with the kin
die
society is
way earlier.
they're
than
so
anyone
scared of
else.
everything. They're so scared of everything, and
They're
at
scared
least
of Aes Sedai. I
this-
mean,
well, right, which is
for-
what they're based on. At least the sea folk are
sort
like,
of. They're not structured the same way Aes Sedai are.
no, they're not. But that's what they base their society off of. What they know,
Sort of.
what they had like 2 years of experience with, yeah,
Maybe or 50.
or 50, right? However long it
They-
took.
No,
them.
no,
hung
no.
out-
We
they-
know
they
that the
hung out to
tower,
that
the
person
tower
for
did
50
not
years.
tolerate
you
them
off.
for very
The
long.
tower's booting you
Oh
out
my
before
gosh.
then.
We got to give up on you.
All right,
Right.
we're now
50
on
years.
the Nynaeve of Destruction.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
This
boy.
is, I'm not going to lie, this is one of your best subject headers of all time. Nynaeve of Destruction. I'm here for
Pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, it's not
Love it.
pretty
It's
good.
it's
really
no
good.
Kablamchiko.
There
which you
is
hated.
not much which is a Kablamchiko because I use that in real life conversations with Sydney, my daughter. So
Do you still do it?
I still do it,
Oh, heck
and she appreciates it. Yes.
no, there's no complaint.
Kablamchiko is probably the greatest in a lexicon ever.
Come up with that? I thought
Yes,
Dave
of course
did.
I
Yes,
came
you
up with
did.
it.
Oh, of course he came up with it. You and I are stooges, but of course he came
No,
up
I'm coming up with these things. That's all.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if it was another thing that Dave came up, like another name that.
No,
Dave
that
just
was
An
all
alternative
EEC.
name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow,
So Nynaeve is having the kin watch Ispan to try to help the kin get on equal footing with the Aes Sedai. Why is she so concerned about that? Why is it so important to her that these women, to what David just described, that these women actually get some guts when it comes to dealing with the Aes Sedai? It's really important to Nynaeve.
Because well,
She is going to drill some temerity into
I
them.
think she needs to, because it's like
Well-
it's like a by proxy with her, because she was so set
Yes.
upon by everybody, and she needs to give them their own sense of agency by being, and it's like
boo
she's
to that.
living vicariously through them is basically what it is.
Yes.
Or she wants to.
This is really about her.
But she doesn't need to, because she's
No.
at the top of the beanpole.
And
Like,
she-
what's going
Isn't
on?
everything about her?
Yes.
It is, but I don't think this is bad. I don't think this is bad,
No.
because it is selfish to a point, but it's not disaffecting them.
The kin worship the Aes Sedai. They need to get over that.
They need to get over that. And I feel like that one woman who's
Sure enough.
awfully powerful, whatever her name is, like, she's getting onto it a bit, and she's very powerful. She's probably the most powerful of the kin that we know of. What is her name?
Well, it depends
They're
on
all
which
powerful.
one.
It's the one they keep
Elisa?
referencing.
Or the oldest one.
No, not the oldest one. The one that's like, good point, Nynaeve. Whatever her name is, she's getting it. And I'm fired for not remembering. Not Elise.
I just said that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not her. It's somebody else.
They're sort of, the kin are sort of the opposite side of the coin of the Aiel. You have the Aiel and their relationship with the Aes Sedai, which is originally they so revered them, and now the ones that are around the Aes Sedai that betrayed Rand totally hate them. And then you have the kin who just live in awe of them and think they're basically gods
Yeah.
and treat them like that. So, yeah, so Nynaeve is trying to get them to buck up against the Aes Sedai while she is off mooning at Lan.
Right. Often.
Yeah, it does seem a bit often.
So
Good
which
for her.
Good for her. Is it good for us though, as readers?
No.
In what capacity?
Do you enjoy this, Nynaeve? Would you Nynaeve before or after marriage?
I don't just not enjoy Nynaeve. I don't enjoy Lan.
Right.
Lan's like my Mashiach.
Did Nynaeve ruin Lan?
Yeah, but then they.
Yes,
but then,
Nynaeve has ruined Lan. Lan is a milksop now.
No. Avienda
No,
was
no,
looking at
no.
Lan.
He's like, I would die for you.
I know, but
Hoi
Avienda was
polloi.
looking at him
Like,
like,
oh my goodness.
if ever, death was a name by a man, that would be him.
And yes,
Which is weird.
He's massively
because-
aggressive until he's around Nynaeve. And he's like, I'm a
I know,
milksop.
but we have
look
that
out.
with Mordred too.
Oh,
I
hoi
thought it
polloi.
was weird that it was mentioned twice.
Stop
Yeah,
saying
no, I
hoi
agree with you.
polloi.
Well, Sydney and I talk about that all the time.
Hoi polloi. Oh my god.
It's Nancy
Right.
Pansy. It's ridiculous.
A nonsense bonse.
See, now he's doing that. Is that better or worse than hoi polloi?
Well, that's the first time he said it. You've said hoi polloi like 4 times.
I think it's actually literally twice. But
No.
either way,
Hoi
it's a
polloi
fact.
is
It's
the
a
name
fact
of a
that like
news album.
Lan
hullabaloo.
was this hardcore like. I don't want to
Yes,
hear. I
agreed.
don't want to hear Lan talking about Nynaeve ever again.
Right. But
I
we're probably gonna.
12
Alas.
books later, yes, we're gonna, and it's
We were
It's a
all
lot.
like, it's unfortunate that the best thing that happened to Nynaeve was followed almost immediately by
the
worst,
worst thing. Yes,
I
but at the same
want
time,
one
maybe
of them
Lan will
to
be like,
die.
I've said my piece. I'm never gonna
Adam
say
just
it
said
again.
He wants one of them to die.
I mean,
do.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
I don't
feel
either, but it should.
maybe
it
the
should,
depth of
it
the
should.
conversation needs to happen. Maybe that's
One
just
of
it.
them
Then
needs to die.
Then you've got this other weird relationship that Nynaeve has with Elisa, the woman, the organizer of the Kin's farm. Right?
She's a lot.
Like she does not like the woman, but she's now wearing hats because of her.
Nynaeve's got the best hat. It keeps falling off,
I
tilting to
don't
the side.
understand.
She doesn't know how to control this hat.
She's
Where
wearing
on
the
earth does
hat
that
because
come from?
she's worried about because Elisa has convinced her that not wearing a hat in the sun will ruin her skin.
But the best part, she's like,
When has
I don't
she
think she
ever
knows
been
about
like-
that hat, does
it's
she?
because of Lan. She's worried. She's gained vanity because of Lan.
Wait, how?
Nynaeve.
But so is
She's wearing
Avienda.
the hat because she's worried about this sun aging her skin.
Really?
But so
Yes.
they all
I
have.
missed that.
So Avienda and her have in this book.
Oh, don't start on Avienda. I will.
Not
I will come
Avienda.
I will come across
She
the screen at
100%
you.
goes through it, thinking in her mind.
No, she
"Oh my
likes her
gosh,
dresses.
Dresses,
Who am
yes,
I?
yes, yes.
She's like, I can't believe I
she's
like talking
having
about
she's
dresses.
having an existential moment as she transfers from being a maiden of the spear
I
to
blame-
a wise
I
woman.
blame-
Dave, I
Elaine.
will never complain about Avienda.
I don't think you should.
I
It's
will never
all
do it.
Elaine and Nynaeve's fault. They're corrupting her
I
with the
agree.
dresses.
I agree. Well,
Yeah.
no, they're just being. Nynaeve is being annoying.
Well, she
Again.
is, but at the same time, she's in love.
While we're
But I
while
agree
we're
with
talking
you. Lan is being more annoying.
while we're talking about Elisa and the farm, like, isn't this farm a little chauvinistic? Have we ever heard about a retreat for men where they can go when they're just tuckered out and they need a break from life?
I don't want to talk about that. Yes, I have. Let's not bring that up.
No.
Go ahead with another topic. Yeah.
For show.
It just
Yeah.
seems like it just seems odd to me.
No. Don't talk about it. Let's move on.
I just did though.
It's great.
Adam, you don't want to talk about whether men deserve a retreat in this world?
No, I don't. I don't.
I don't know. I just thought it was odd. I just thought it was
Okay.
strange. All right.
Adam's
think
like,
it's that
I don't
odd.
want to talk
think
about this,
that
so we're not going
in terms
to.
of the book, it seems like it's pretty straight on how
Yes.
these things go.
Yes, yeah.
These things, you people.
it fits into this world.
How these things. how
Wait
these
until
things go.
toMorodin.
No.
So we know that
Just a
Morodin
banger.
has 2 core Suvra or the mind traps. He has 2 of them.
So she's
Does he
squashing
not
them?
have
Are they
more?
like?
I feel like he just has about 17.
What?
He's like, oh wait, I got another one here.
Well,
He has 2.
he has 2. My question is like, who's in the other one?
Well, so we know.
One is for Nynaeve, or for
Good
not
question.
Nynaeve.
I
One
hope
is for
not.
Mogedion.
Mogedion and no, it's Arengar or Osengar. It's one of the two.
Oh,
He
that's
stated
right.
that earlier.
That's right. Okay.
Oh,
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting that Mogedion doesn't show up here, but she's very much in mind because of the presence of Morodin.
And he's a Forsaken that's been around a long time. Who is this guy?
Yes,
Who
well, there
is
seem to
these-
be.
Who is this
Morodin.
Calvin?
Yeah, this guy sure seems like Shamael, right?
I agree.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. Why?
I mean,
do you think that?
because remember, Shamael was calling himself Balsamon, and there was the suggestion that name Balsamon was ancient, and we were wondering, could a Shamael have somehow been around for the last couple hundred years, if not more, that he's been out of the prison for longer. He just seems to be the most ancient of the
Not only
Forsaken.
that, the guy doesn't disappear. He keeps coming back. He's like
He does.
Right.
he's like herpes. He just keeps coming back. Like he's just keeps showing up when you least want him to.
and he seemed really important to Sheatan. It sure seems to me like he's a Shamael. Plus, he's the only dead Forsaken that we don't know of, right?
And I never thought of
No,
Because
well,
we've got Osengar and Arengar.
Osengar and Arengar, we suspect are
that. Oh, right.
which we suspect their
We don't know where what's her face is.
Landfair's disappeared.
Landfair.
We suspect their what are their names from the first book?
She's coming
Creepy and
back.
creepier.
Right. Aglamar and
Oh, Aglamar.
Aglamar and no, not Aglamar. That's the Saldane.
Aglamar.
no, I don't.
Lord Aglamar.
Aglamar.
It
No,
is something
it's
like
Agenor.
that. Though. Agenor.
Yeah.
And
Yes, thank you.
Balthamel. Balthamel, or
Balthamel.
however we
Balthamel.
pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepier and creepier are the male and
Right.
female.
Or Arengar and Osengar.
Yes.
Right. I said
We
that.
we suspect that we don't have confirmation, but that's what we
No,
suspect
but
that they are.
right. So now
But
we've
there's
got
been other Forsaken that have disappeared
Oh, no,
too.
I thought we had confirmation.
we've got
Moraine
Oh,
killed
boy.
what's his face in the tower, or in the Stone of Tyr.
right. Yes, there are
And
two.
Lan killed
there,
what's his face there as well.
No, there's
Not
two
Lan,
other
Rand.
there are two other
Rand.
Forsaken that we
Thank you.
can't that are unaccounted for. Right. We've only got 3 that have been resurrected so far, but
If that's indeed who they are, yeah, we've got inclinations.
Shamael
Pretty
was the
amazing,
most
though, that you can
important
have
of these.
Pretty amazing. You can have characters that you're like they died,
But they didn't really. But I agree. I've
like
suspected
that.
I've suspected all along that Morodin is probably a Shamael, and it makes sense because
Ooh.
he's the one that is so
Have
far.
you brought this up before?
No, we've not brought this up. Eric just brought this up. So far tied back in time.
The other reason that made me think of a Shamael was he's the character that comes out in the prologue for the Great Hunt, and there is the suggestion even there that he is manipulating both sides of the playing board.
Nothing-
Like Boris is watching people
Boris.
of
Good old boys.
totally
Boris.
different
a
factions
man called Boris.
getting commands from that character, and it just seems like all different sides are that he just has sleeper cells everywhere and people on all in all different parts of this, so all of that kind of fit into the profile of Morodin.
Interesting.
And
I hadn't
nothing for
thought about
nothing.
that. I feel like
Is it just me, or is frickin' Morodin always in front of a fireplace, which was tied to a Shamael?
Right. Yep. There's that too. Absolutely.
Oh.
He thinks to himself that Samael was a fool to risk so much to go after the that cache of Angreal that Elaine and company took away.
Yeah,
we know
this
that
is strange.
Yeah, we know Mogedion had people going after that. Why is it so remarkable that Samael had people going after it? Which, by the way, did we know that until this moment?
I don't remember that, but I thought it was weird that he just thought they were going to burn themselves out by trying to use them.
Well, that's just a moment of demonstration of the ignorance of the Forsaken, and also how they constantly underestimate the Aes Sedai of this age, right? Is really what that is. But were we aware that Samael had a group of people going after this?
No.
Cache in Ibudar?
This was Samael's cache. That's what he's intimating here. This was the cache that Samael had set aside, and it was his cache. So it's not he was going after it. He tucked this aside, and
this is where Samael has been drawing the. Okay, this is. Which we've been talking about. We've been talking about, like, where is he getting all these Angreal from? So these women have stolen it away from him.
Wait, what? Go ahead. Expand on that. What do you mean?
You just said that the cache that they dipped into and took all these Angreal out of was Samael's cache.
Yes, it was.
So Nynaeve and Elaine have stolen his cache.
100%, yes.
But
he's dead, so
But
whatever.
wait a minute. But that would also infer then that Mogedion and the people that she had sent was stealing from his cache as well.
Because we know the Forsaken are fighting against
But wasn't
each other.
Mogedion supposed to... No, Mogedion wasn't working with Samael.
No, it was What's-Her-Face.
That's crazy that's... Well, man, I'd want a reaction shot from Samael when he goes back to his cache and there's nothing there.
Well, he's dead.
Oh, he's
not going to get you
He
any
just died.
reaction.
He just died. A lot of plot points have come to an end then with the death of Samael.
For sure.
Even while others have begun. And then also through Morodin, we realized that that skill that Avienda had used of unweaving wasn't even known in the Age of Legends.
Yeah, crazy.
Another thing. Yeah.
Yet another thing.
Yet another brilliant thing.
There are very few, but this age does seem to have its special skill sets, its powerful discoveries.
Yeah, it's great.
So, Adam, who was your Coplin of the week?
Coplin?
Yeah.
My Coplin of the week. Oh, shoot. Someone else go first.
Dave?
Yeah, okay. So my Coplin of the week, and I feel like I need to conjoin some things. It is the women as a whole, and I don't mean that as in a sexist statement. It's just both the tower and the kin. All of them just kept complaining to poor Elaine. I'm not ready to handle the Black Aja. Maybe they need to handle it. And they're like, we're going to take control of it. And he's like, no,
so you're talking
take
about
control
during the horse ride,
during the
Elaine,
great
migration
journey. Yes,
yeah.
They all just kept complaining to try to take control of it, which is also actually going to lead into my who leveled up. We'll get to that, but
we will.
I'll foreshadow. It was just so annoying. Each party kept trotting a little horse, clippity clop. They got the coconuts. They're going there.
It was very funny.
Funny and also
it was very funny,
very annoying.
Sure.
That's my Coplin, is all of them who they couldn't abide by what Elaine was telling them. They couldn't just submit to the
because of their
authority.
societal structures. I mean, Elaine was asking them to.
Yeah.
But their societal structure should have told them to obey the head point of authority, which is Elaine, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well,
no.
I mean, no, their head points of authority are different than
Elaine through Nynaeve is deliberately trying to change the perspective of the kin. That takes a lot. That's a major cultural shift that she's asking them to engage in.
But they're used to structure. They totally are, both parties.
Yeah, but it's not this structure.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. They're
Yes,
used to
it does
structure in
matter.
general, and they won't accept the structure in general that's imposed upon them.
Well, no, because
Because
they
they don't
already
like
have
it.
one that they've created of their own. I mean, she's asking them to change their mores. I mean, she's asking them to completely change their value system. So,
Yeah. But that's
a major,
my
that's a
stance,
huge
and I
ask.
deal with it.
My Coplin was Tenobia.
For sure.
Oh.
For sure.
In that meeting, she's just too much. And everybody around her is like, oh, this girl again. How did she get in charge of this country?
The problem is
Anybody
her
but
nose.
her.
It's the nose. The nose always knows.
So everybody around her like admires her for her bravery, but just tolerates her for her personality.
Yep.
Mm.
Who is your Coplin, Adam?
Marin.
Marin.
I don't get what's going on with her.
Marin or Varen?
Varen, the one that Varen, the one that made the mistake.
The one that's been around us for 7 or 8 books, but you're creating a
goodness.
new person.
Well, I'm sorry.
Varen makes more sense.
Varen, because I don't know what's going on with her.
No, we don't.
It's
Well, I
so
think I think we
confusing.
do,
She
and I
keeps
think it's
being-
not bueno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I kept holding out hope for her for so long because like
Keep
oh,
doing it.
man,
I don't think I think we can keep holding out hope with her because while she is there's a lot to unpack there.
she's put in a bad situation.
She
But
is?
but I don't think
she's put herself
No.
into that situation.
I don't think she's harming Rand yet. I don't think she's harming
true.
the light yet. I don't.
No.
Which is good.
But-
No, but she's
remember also there's
constantly
the
one
suggestion that
that's-
she's doing
she's
a lot
constantly
behind
the
the
one
scenes.
that's in kind of control of the situation that she's put in. So
is
Yes.
that bad?
it's no.
Well, if she's Black Aja, it's bad.
Right.
It seems.
Yes.
It seems
We don't know
that
that
she has
yet.
had more control than Rand has had of certain
Oh,
situations.
Rand is flying by the seat of his pants. He's not an Aes Sedai with
Exactly.
years and years and years of experience.
Yeah,
He's-
I don't know.
I,
I'm interested to know what this mistake was that she made. I like the
Rich and
what was brought
compelling.
up before.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I really like her, but it's too much at this point.
yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, like, I've been keeping my eye on her ever since she
Yeah.
got introduced. This was the first time that I was like, oh, no.
Yeah,
Because, I mean,
Just
even
doing
though
these things.
she's really dubious or very suspicious, I still like her. I mean, she's still a great character, but she does not seem to be an agent for good. And
do
the only
think,
thing
though,
I can
that
hope
it's
is
a
maybe
wait, hold
Oh,
on.
wait,
I think it's a
there's
very
more.
interesting question that she asks in terms of, is there anyone in the tower that is gonna be pro Rand? That could go either way. It's a great question to
well, the
ask.
tower's not pro Rand.
Right. But she's asking specifically to her. Is there anyone that is? It's like, man, maybe. I'll
Well,
go
right.
with
She's
Rand.
trying to find that out because remember, Rand is claiming that there is a faction in there that will support him. Remember, that's
Well,
one
he
of
got
the
the- he
things
got
that
the
he's
notice-
telling
She's
people.
the
a
notice
Black
from
Aja,
what's-her-face.
It could benefit her that way, or it could benefit her either. It could benefit her.
The
either
white
way, so
traitor,
it's just-
whatever her name
yeah.
is.
Oh, the
Poor
white
Rand.
traitor.
The
Poor Rand.
speaker.
Oh, right. Who leveled up? Adam.
Avienda.
Oh, it's a good call. And why?
It's interesting to me though that it turned out to be so much trouble. The fact that she was just able to pull these threads out, but she was saying
Less trouble than Elaine.
right. But she was saying, "Hey, no, we learned this, and I can do it." So
Right.
good on you.
Well, your second attempt was much better than mine was, right? Is what she says. You screwed up, but you did better than I did at my second try.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the thing that you saw me do was after probably hundreds of attempts at this, and you just assumed you could do it on your second one. Great job.
Yeah.
Good way to go.
Yeah.
Mine was Elise.
Oh,
She's
Eric with
really
a
got
deep
that.
cut.
She's really got
Those
that
are
farm
deep cuts.
organized, and now apparently she's having an
That's true.
influence on Nynaeve.
You know what she does? She cracks that whip.
She does. She gets everybody ready to go. She brings the farm under control after somebody screams Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai, baby.
Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai, as Eric did earlier.
Yes. So I mean, she's really important, and I like that kin society. It actually seems to be based on skill rather than just ability with the power. So who
Or
leveled up
age.
for you, Dave?
I'm going with the deepest cut of the deepest cut.
Oh, I love
I'm going
this.
with Adelius and Van Deen because they,
Oh, I love
Yeah.
any mention of Van Deen. I love.
well, they were ready to go to torture 101.
Well, they did.
And they
But
yes,
the-
and they were
you see-
stopped, but they were ready to
you've
get
been
to like the
titillated by
brass
this
tacks.
reference.
Like they were ready to get down with the sickness, and they were stopped. Wow, yeah, and like they were ready to do what needed to be done, and I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like we need the people in that society who just know, let's go. Like they have to do what they have to do, and yeah, I'm here for it.
That was a great moment because there's an understanding of all the moral complexities
Yeah.
that go into that, and you have Nynaeve who is also trying to figure out the sort of the moral logistics of it, and they come in and say, you know what, first of all, you shouldn't enjoy doing this, but second of all, there are things like you said, Dave, there are things that have to be done. We're willing to do them. We're also willing to deal with the moral pain that occurs afterward. We'd rather you not have to handle this. Like there's just a lot of twisting that they're willing to kind of go through to get to where they need to get to. And they would, as the older, more mature people in the situation, they would rather see themselves tackle that rather than the young
Right.
people.
Not only that, like I feel like they can accept the consequences that come with it. Like
Right. Yes.
They're
They're going to
just-
take on the burden because
Yeah.
there is a burden that goes along with it.
and
Yep.
and those two would rather accept that burden than anyone else. Because they're
Yeah. They also
they're
seem to have
equipped.
the know-how in
yeah,
addition to
right.
In addition to that.
And they're like, just leave this room.
yeah.
We're gonna be fine with this.
And there's a suggestion that there are just some Aes Sedai who can do this,
they're
which
gonna get things done.
also means that like there's somehow there's training
done
that
this
goes on
before,
with
yeah.
right, exactly. There's a protocol for this. So that's all for episode 19 and the start of Path of Daggers. Join us for episode 20 when we move on to the next 6 chapters of our new book. And until then, may you rest in the Creator's hand.
Doviendes Hitovius again.
May you know good hunting, young bull, and she's to give you many cubs.
Shazam!